Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A lot of people think that now that Syria fell into the hands of Al Capone and Israel, the Russians are just rope-a-doping, and they will just get their underwear and say, peace, can we have peace in Ukraine? Help us, we're losing. Well, that's not the case. I'm going to show you here an article coming from Putin and not from Putin, but from Reuters, telling us when the Russians see the war in Ukraine ending. That's the first article I'm going to discuss in this video. The other one, the Germans want to be smacked. Why? They're talking about sending Taurus missiles to Ukraine. Remember the mountain slope model? They are already talking about the conditions under which they will send it. Not that, hey, we don't even talk about it. Don't even talk about it. No. Now they're talking about the conditions. So it's the next step. And the third one, the third article I have here with Trump supposedly sending warning shots to Putin. What do you think Putin thinks about it? I think he thinks like this. All right. Why? Because again, they think that if the Russians lost in Syria, they will lose in Ukraine. Therefore, regime change in Russia. All right, let's start with the first article coming from Reuters. Kremlin says Ukraine war will go until Putin's goals, not Russia's, Putin, are met on battlefield or by negotiation. Here is the guy, the bad dude that you're supposed to hate. The 5-minute hate, from 1984 dystopian novel, George Orwell. The Kremlin said on Tuesday that the Ukraine war would continue until the goals set by the President Vladimir Putin were achieved by military action or by negotiation. So the goals until Putin's are met on battlefield or by negotiation. So the guys in Russia say, we have 4 goals. Oh, I thought it was unprovoked and undefendable attack and unjustifiable. Well, they have 4 justifications, at least for invading, all right? Not in self-defense like Israel. No. That's just for those guys. For us, no, whatever flies. So in this case, they said, we have 4 goals. We will achieve them either or. I said that I've been saying this over and over again. Why? The Russians are not going to go halfway, get tired, and come back. They're going to go all the way, and they can go all the way. Why? They have nuclear weapons, my friends. That's one thing. I mean, Russia cannot lose. It's only one possibility when Russia loses. If you have about 300 of the echelon in Russia in an operation, decapitating operation, about an hour. That's an hour, no more than an hour, because in an hour, communication and you can defend. In an hour, these guys are gone and already people put in place. Military, political, security forces, all these guys, not only around 300 at least. So not only the first one in charge, because it's going to be by the guy next to him or underneath. So that's the only way these guys were going to lose. I said is the Russians will fulfill their 4 goals why they entered over there. So that's the first one. Second one, let's find out how Germany will be possibly struck by, I don't know, Oreshnik, hypersonic ICBMs. Ukrainska Pravda. German opposition leader sets condition for supplying Ukraine with Taurus missiles. Now, this is not the alternative for Deutschland. That's the opposition leader. But no, they give us, this is the opposition leader. Not alternative for Deutschland, which had about 33% of the votes. No. The opposition leader sets one condition for supplying Ukraine with Taurus missiles. I've been telling you about the mountain slope model, which is this style, guys. Start with a former military advisor or military general that has no authority, speaks as a free person. Well, maybe if Germany would supply Ukraine with this kind of weapons, Ukraine could defend itself and push the invading Russians out. And obviously he's a guy with you can't sue anything, he's not an authority figure, he's just a guy, an expert. And then that gets picked up by the mass media, and then they go to the panels, and then they think no, and then yes, and then you got the authorities, a general saying, yeah, maybe it would be a good thing, and then the president or the chancellor comes and says, no, and then someone else maybe it's a good idea, and then they debate under what kind of conditions they should do that. They did this with everything, every weapon. They did the same little game. The same stage game. Oh, should we send the Leopard 2 tanks? No. The first moment the idea was brought into the discussion, it was the first step into the final determination, which was, yes, we send them. These things were determined before. The same with the troops. The same will happen. They will discuss it. They're already discussing them. It's just under what conditions. What's next? The decision. So here you have these guys saying, again, German opposition leader is not Alternative for Deutschland. No. It's this baboon. Let's see what communists we have here. Friedrich Merz, leader of the German opposition bloc, CDU-CSU, and a candidate for chancellor, said he would only provide Ukraine with long-range Taurus missiles after consulting the United States of America. That tells you who is the vassal state here. He explained that the decision to deliver long-range weapons to Ukraine would not be made unilaterally because they're courageous, That's why. And people who attack in numbers, they're courageous. People who fight alone, they're just cowards. Right? Remember? Just kidding, obviously. But only in close coordination with the United States and European allies. This is Al Capone's plantation, right here. So Merz also pointed out that training Ukrainian soldiers to use this weapon would take at least 4 months. No, it's not going to be used by them. It's going to be used by Germans. I'm 99% certain. Why? I have a gut feeling. And since they are allowed to have gut feelings, you know who I'm talking about, I am allowed to have it. During which time a new US President Donald Trump is expected to take office. The Germans don't want to send Taurus missiles. This is not the opposition leader. He's one of the opposition. But hey, should not talk about the Alternative for Deutschland. So what did the Russians say? If the Ukrainians use long-range missile strikes deep inside Russia, what would they do? They could nuke the fuck out of you. This baboon is going to be in a bunker, not you, my Fritz. Next one. Let's see how Trump threatens Putin. And Putin is like, exactly, I saw him. Here, the Daily Beast. Trump sends warning shot to Putin as he hails that Assad is gone. How is Assad gone? Through the democratic way that we promote and we defend here? Or through a coup, a violent attack? So Assad is gone. Are you celebrating? Well, that's not for me to celebrate. It's for the Syrian people to decide. But it seems like the outside interests are over there. So this guy says, I'm going to tell you what Trump tweets right here, or whatever in Truth Social. Assad is gone. He has fled his country. He's protected Russia, led by Vladimir Putin, was not interested in protecting him any longer. There was no reason for Russia to be there in the first place. That's baboonish, Trump. You know that. They lost all interest in Syria because of Ukraine, where close to 600,000 Russian soldiers lay wounded or dead. How do you know that? How many Ukrainians are laid dead? Well, you can't say that. Why? All right, so here is Zelensky. Likewise, Zelensky in Ukraine would like to make a deal and stop the madness. They have ridiculously lost, they tell us, my bad, they tell us 400,000 soldiers and many more civilians. All right, well, good, now we know the numbers. I guarantee you that Zelensky, he said that only 80,000 Ukrainians died. 80. So when Trump says 400,000 died, that tells me, soldiers, that tells me that what? Disinformation, misinformation. It's a lie. Trump lied, but Daily Beast uses that lie. Why? It's in their own agenda. So what do you think Putin says about it? So this is a message. Well, this guy fled. Maybe that's going to happen to you. Is this the way the American democracy functions? If someone would say, let's say, the Indians from India, not the Indians from America, the American Indians, so-called. If they would say, well, you know what, Trump, have you seen what happened to Gaddafi? Be careful. What do you think these guys will answer? Holy moly. Well, let's take another country. Let's say it's Venezuela. Not India, because it's hard to fuck around with. India has nuclear weapons and so on. 1.5 billion people and on and on and on. What would you say? Oh my God, that's a threat to our president. Let's go and bomb them. Right? Well, probably Venezuela is going to be next now that Syria fell. And these guys think that they are, oh man, I'm strong here. My friends, sometimes it makes me feel that, many times actually, we are on the wrong side. I'm not saying that the Russian side is the right side. It shouldn't be just two sides to the equation. Could be a third one. I think many times I think I'm on the third side of the equation. But these guys want me to support this kind of garbage, hinting that an elected official of a country should end up like that. Coming from a guy who was democratically selected by the voting machine and the sponsors, legal, how do you call it, campaign donors. In other countries, that would be called bribery. But here is, no, it's so matrix-like. It's just the opposite. That's why when I see the government or the media operatives telling you Gigi is bad, most likely Gigi is good for us and is bad for them. When I say, I don't know, Lulu is good, most likely is good for them and is bad for us. The same with an issue. When you are supposed to hate a country or hate a president or hate a dictator or whomever, most likely that person doesn't follow this guy's order. If that dictator, as ruthless he might be or she might be, follows the orders of Al Capone, he's just fine. He's a-okay guy. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So Putin says clearly what's going to happen. Russia, he's in charge of Russian Federation, elected. Then we have the German, how do you call it, opposition leader, wants to be struck, so waiting for the Americans and the allies, because we are democratic, right? And then Trump loves democracy, correct? He was selected and now he can talk. He's going to continue in Middle East whatever those guys in self-defense will tell him to do. And in Ukraine, he can't do anything unless he uses nuclear weapons. That's all they can do. You're going to send military, he's going to nuke the fuck out of you. What are they going to do? So you have nothing to threaten Russia with. Nothing. Nothing. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.